I've been asked by Lynn to reminisce and tell some stories about Jim. I want to thank everyone that has contributed to this. I guess the funny thing about it is that a lot of the stories were very similar. Jim, being an NCIS investigator, always approached a nest as a crime scene. He would always want us to observe the area carefully and not to destroy any of the evidence. We had to look at the crawl, the way it went, the way it came back, the thrown sand, the vegetation, and only then would we pick the spot, that special spot to probe. You couldn't go out on the beach with Jim and expect to come in early. If it looked like a nest was present with a nice body pit, we would probe and reprobe and reprobe until one of us would ask, Jim, can we move on? There weren't many times that Jim left the beach with a short stake in the sand. And if he did, we knew that the next 2 to 3 days that we would still be reprobing that area. And I can attest to the fact that on several instances, we did find the nest again. Of course, going up the beach, it seemed like Jim knew everyone on the beach, and we would always stop and talk and exchange pleasantries or answer questions. And of course, Jim was always on the outlook for people to be in his zone 8. Art Zackerson told me a story about when it was just he and Jim on the beach. They were in the truck, came upon a crawl with a perfect body pit. And again, it went probe, reprobe, reprobe. Both had their backs up against the truck, panning because they had been probing so much. They decided to try one more time. They found a soft spot and found a nest. It was a perfectly formed nest, but at the bottom of that nest was only one egg. And Jim, being Jim, could not accept the fact that there was just one egg. So they dug up half the beach looking for other eggs, and there just were none. It was a one egg nest. After discussing several things as to what to do with that one egg, several of which Art would not tell me, I can just imagine what they were coming up with. They decided to drive that one egg back to the previous nest that they had found, and they buried it with its new stepbrothers and stepsisters. A good outcome for a one egg nest, and so typical of a solution that Jim would come up with. Joe Pizzula always valued Jim, not only as a zone captain, but also as his Mr. Fix-It. Jim gradually divulged into that role. He had a nice workshop in his garage, and he just loved to tinker in there. So he was always ready to do any repairs or replacements or cut screens, whatever it took for his turtles. And if you were lucky enough in Zone 8, he made you his own probe, complete with his signature silver sea turtle embedded in the handle. These probes were always valuable and now have become even more valuable. And then we had a birthday party. Jim's birthday was on Halloween. And in 2020, he turned 80. He admitted that he had never had a birthday party for many, many years. So several of us got together to throw him a birthday party. Of course, being COVID, we had to do it outside. So it was staged in his driveway. Many fellow turtle people either drove by or stopped by to wish Jim well. You could just see how happy he was. And it was a fun-filled afternoon with many unusual turtle costumes and complete with candy and cupcakes and a broad smile on Jim's face. We will also cherish and remember Jim's last day on the beach. The last nest to hatch in 2020 happened to be in Zone 8. It was nest number 338. On October 12th, we gathered to inventory that nest. David Dry was able to secure a truck so that he could drive Jim to the nest so that he could oversee the inventory. Many volunteers showed up for the inventory. For a late nest, you usually don't expect to find a live turtle. But one live turtle was found. And not only was it a live turtle, it was a special live turtle. It was white, not an albino, but a leucistic turtle, which we found out was very rare. And thanks to Allison Frey, this baby turtle has become probably the most famous turtle so far hatched on Kiawah. Articles and photos have been read and seen around the world about this turtle, and Jim was there to oversee it all. After the inventory, Jim being Jim and David being David, they took a moment and decided that it was a good day to check the turtle equipment on the beach. So in addition to the inventory, Jim had a chance to drive the entire beach that day. No one knew that would be his last ride on the beach, but we're so thankful that David was able to make that happen. Many words come to mind to describe Jim: knowledgeable, teacher, patient, kind, but most of all, friend to all of us and his precious turtles. We miss you, Jim. Godspeed.
Out in the ocean, and just as soon as they hit the water, the fish get it.
Oh, yeah.
So we always have to make sure that tube is gone from the baby turtle. And when we get down on the ocean, I'm going to ask everybody to make a sort of a horseshoe from the ocean around. And when we release the little turtles, don't go real close, but please do not take any flash photography.